Hi, welcome to Messier Mantra. I'm your host, Mike Messier. On this episode, we have Don Martone.
What's going on, Mike? Nice. Thanks for having me.
Don, it's good to be with you here on the show. We've known each other a little bit, but...
A little bit, yeah.
We met, I think, initially on the set of a short film you did last summer with our good friend Carol Conley, who wrote and directed the piece. And tell me about that piece. I believe it's called Penitence, is that right?
Penitence, yes. Penitence is a story about a character that, I mean, when I first read the script, it was about 7 pages, and immediately it was one of those things that just kind of gripped you. Right. And it just said, I don't know, it just like, it kind of, it spoke to me in such a way that I knew exactly who this person was. I knew exactly what he looked like. I knew how he talked. I knew everything about him, really. It was one of those things that it was kind of almost just, I had to be a part of it. And it was brought to me by, I believe, Tommy DiNucci. Yeah. He let me know about it, and I believe I just sent in like an iPhone script read kind of thing, and it got a hold of the right people. Carol saw it, and we ended up sitting down for a coffee to actually do a live read. Right. And we didn't even open the script when we met, because we ended up just talking about this character, talking about the backstory almost. Right. And it was just funny. We ended up walking away, and it was like, okay, I didn't even read that script with her. I didn't even do what I was set out to do. And yeah, she gave me the part, and it was a great opportunity to. And I've seen it, and it's pretty happy the way it turned out. So. It's a dark piece. It's about a very dark piece. Yeah. If you want to tell me a little bit about the storyline, it's about a young man who was kind of molested by an older lady. Right. It's a story that you don't read about too often. Again, that's kind of what gripped me a little bit, was that the subject matter was so almost like it's hard to. You don't want to talk about it, you know, and it's something that's not. It's always either the sexes are different. It's usually the older gentleman with the little girl, the little boy. In this case, it was a younger boy with a very, very older woman. And then it's that story of what happens when that little boy grows up and he's lived with that kind of life, that he's had to carry all those experiences that he's dealt with. And when you confront that person that's responsible for the loss of, I guess, your innocence. Right. That's what that movie's. That's what I liked about this script, is like it's a snapshot of a brief moment in time, and it leaves you with more questions than answers to. And that's why, like, when you watch it, you walk away from it, and it's with you for like. For me, it was hard to actually watch, because it just sticks with you a long time, really. It was like a couple of weeks out, I was still thinking about, like, oh. You carry that character with you. Yeah, that can happen with an actor when you've really devoted yourself, and it's not just a glib show up and do some lines, but when you really develop the character and feel it organically and touches into something in your system, somewhere that, like, you're kind of like, wow, I am this guy. What's the name of your character in the piece? Well, it's Bobby. Bobby is the character. Again, it's like, it's that juxtaposition of this. Even when you read it, it's like Bobby. It's a boyish kind of. You think of a little child, right? And this guy, he's got this child's name in the script, but he's a man now. Right. He's out of prison. He's lived a hard life, and so you have to take that kind of, and I guess that's what I brought to it, was that kind of that dark kind of place that I kind of struggle with. I try to relate that some of the things I went through and applied it. Obviously, some of obviously that situation. I never went to prison.
Sure.
You know, you got to act that out, or you got to imagine what that's like. But yeah, and definitely. I guess I didn't have to do a lot of work with this. Obviously, it's a short film. Right. But again, I understood the character. And when we did the scene and I finally met Marlon, who's obviously she's a seasoned actress.
And she played the lady that had been in this relationship with Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, she's been in movies, Elvis Presley. I mean, she's just got a background in TV. You know, she comes from the golden era of, Hollywood, whatever days those were that, I wasn't even born yet. She was doing this stuff. And it was like when I'm doing the scene with her, it was just like, you're not acting. You were just behaving. And it looks, when you see the chemistry between the result of what we did was, I'm pretty happy with it. She was just a total breeze to work with, and that's always fortunate.
There's another character in the piece that's your mother, who we're not. Does the mother know about the previous molestation of the neighbor?
Again, these are all answers. These are all questions that you don't really have answers to. Right. And you're kind of thrown into the world, and she has a very brief part in the movie. She knows that there was maybe some kind of, that neighbor lady. I think one of the lines was, that neighbor lady, she's back, and she's having some. You don't really know. Right. You don't really know.
And that's kind of interesting because Bobby himself, as a young man, maybe didn't know what his mom knew, was afraid to talk to mom because that's the neighbor lady's her friend, and the little child in that situation doesn't want to rock the boat perhaps, or doesn't feel that he'll be understood, doesn't even understand what's going on himself, really. Oh, yeah. So that's pretty deep stuff. And what I like about this piece is that your character of Bobby has this rich life story, which we don't have to see on screen, but it exists. So as the actor, as Don, you're taking on Bobby and you're giving him a life, a breath of, 20-something years, which is, as an actor, quite a challenge because you can't illustrate every little scene, going to prison and so forth, but you can interpret that and bring it to the character as we see him now, like you said, the snapshot. So.
Well, and how about the challenge there of this was a grassroots kind of. Carol kind of raised the money to do it. It was kind of like a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into it, even to get something at this smaller scale. So you don't exactly have 20 takes to do something. Right. You got to shoot everything in 6 hours. Have it. You got sound, you got lights, you got a lot of people waiting on you to be real quick. So a lot of it had to happen very quickly, and you got to be totally. You got to know, not necessarily know how you're going to deliver a line, right? But what there's an A, there's a B, and you've got to get to that point. So you're going to know the scene.
There's an intention and a focus.
Yeah.
As opposed to
so having that background of already in your belt, under your belt, it really helps with these kind of things where you go, okay, you got one take, do it.
Right. You've got to nail it the first or second or maybe the third time. But
and I think some of the takes Carol used was like the first or second take on it, out of 3 or 4 or whatever. So.
And I've heard about things like, Stanley Kubrick would have Eyes Wide Shut, and he would.
It's like 2 years to do it.
Right, because he would just be crazy, but he had that luxury. He's been around the business for 30, 40 years at that point on his last film, so people are going to be a little more, just giving him what he wants because of all that money that he's bringing to the table. But for this, where you're really focused on that siphoned energy, I kind of think that's the way to go sometimes, because then you have that immediacy. Like in real life, you don't have 30 or 40 takes to think about the whereabouts of your character. You just have to be in the moment. Right. Did you guys rehearse this, or did you just kind
of? We did one run through, I think, of just. And when I do that kind of stuff, I don't want to. I just deadpan the whole thing just to get the lines down.
Right.
And then, yeah, there wasn't really any rehearsal at all. So it was just kind of, you just went in there and did it.
Put the moment on the moment, so to speak. Like live it as it's happening.
Live it. And I mean, I come from my biggest inspiration. You know, a lot of people, actors and stuff, but Brando, you know, you cannot top him being totally open. You know, especially early Brando, Streetcar Named Desire, you know, Wild One. This guy was just, he lived it, you know, and I kind of aspire to, you know, those kind of characters, James Dean, you know, Marlon Brando, those kinds of guys. That just, you can't fake it.
Right.
Because that camera, it knows when you're lying.
It's a laser beam.
It's a laser beam.
Into your soul.
Into your soul.
Yeah. What's next for you as an actor? Do you have anything lined up? Are you looking to do more stuff with people in the area?
Well, I certainly hope that this kind of gives me, you know, because I did the whole living out of a car thing in LA several years ago, and did some, you know, stuff that I, you know, like, why the hell did I do that? Those kind of things, just to get them. And this kind of just came organically right in my backyard. So I kind of hope that something similar happens, because it's not a need and a want in my life.
Right.
So I think that's why, and even in my other businesses that I'm involved with, the more you want something, the more it's out of your. Whereas if you're willing to let go, and to be receptive and open to what life wants for you, things just happen, and it's a beautiful thing, as opposed to always trying to struggle to find that script or find that next gig, you know. So but I do hope that people see this and actually respond to it in a way where they're like, okay, well, that's something either we need to address more in films, or more in society, or you know, just to get the awareness out there. Like there is these occurrences that happen and they're sometimes uncomfortable to talk about.
Right, because like you said earlier, it is typically we think of the creepy old man and the young, it's you know, the creepy old man, the young victimized girl or boy. Right. So we kind of put this whole focus, maybe rightfully so, on male predators, but there is also the female predator too.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't get as much attention. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, and I talked to Carol about this. You know, it's like with this character and this story, it's out of love. Right. Like she actually, I would imagine, again, you're creating that backstory. She obviously cared for this. In a weird way, she became possibly infatuated or in love, or loved his innocence, or loved, you know, something, and he loved her. Maybe his mother, maybe his childhood, when he was growing up, maybe his mother wasn't there. Maybe his parents weren't there. Maybe he needed that affection that he wasn't getting. You know, all these questions, and that's why what I like about this film is like, you're just thrown in that moment. Right. And this is what happened. And well, you're as an audience member, you're doing the work. Right. The work's on you too. Right. It's not a static. You know, this is. No. I think we've got some photos from the piece. I think we saw the cover poster, but we'll get those photos on in a second, just to kind of see some of the production. Here we go. I think we are seeing a shot of Sam Eilertson, who's the director of photography, and love that guy. There's Carol directing the piece and fully engaged in the process. Some of the other participants, the crew, and Carol is just really taking care of business. And this is the lady that played the neighbor, Marlon Mason. Yeah, and she just looks like totally engaged and in the moment. And the set design was terrific. Okay, who was that? Was it Gia? Okay, yeah. And here's hair and makeup lady, Julie Lachane, I believe. Yes. Yeah, and here's the whole crew. We see Tommy DiNucci, I believe the key producer on this, one of the producers and his team. This is Tommy before he became a barbarian.
Right. And Jonathan Schermerhorn in the background, Julie, J. Antonio Figueroa, Jonathan Del Ponte, Robbie Savage, and a gentleman I'm not really too familiar with.
Who's that?
In the back left there, wearing the white hat, but he looks like a fine gentleman.
I think that's the guy we used his car.
Oh, okay.
Was it? Yeah, we used a 19-something Mustang.
Yeah. Well, you can see, like,
It's briefly in that movie.
even with the serious content on the film, there's a good vibe in the
Community.
production. Yeah,
And that's what film
yeah.
is. It's the highest form of art, I think. It's you got visual, you got sound, you got script, you got the words. Everything has to come together, and then it gets cut down, and it's a beautiful thing.
Right. And what I was going to ask you is, like, have you ever studied Buddhism or Zen? Because some of the things you were talking about just about 3 minutes ago, about, I just kind of get that vibe, because you're talking about not chasing, the dream or chasing that acting connection. And trust me, as my own, person and some of the guests I've had on the show, actors can get so worked up, and maybe rightfully so if they're in New York City or even the Boston market.
Yeah.
LA, but like it gets so worked up in that head. I got to have my headshots. I got to have my resume.
Yeah.
I got to have, and that doesn't seem to be your mindset or your modality right now.
Totally not.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that I think acting changed my life.
Right.
I think bodybuilding changed my life. I think the idea that the more comfortable you are with knowing who you are. Like I'm 32 years old, and I'm just learning how to navigate Don Martone.
Right.
How to put him in the world and how to converse with people, because I was a very, very painfully shy, very scrawny little person that was afraid a lot, and I spent too long doing that. And I do aspire to get in that meditative zone and really, but I find that just listen to people.
Right.
Shut up, stop talking about you.
Right.
Listen to people, and I guarantee you, it's like with my real estate business, remove the dollar sign.
Right.
How many people did I help this year?
Right.
How many families did I help get into a home, get out of a situation?
Right.
Like, just listen to what they need, and you will be that person that they go to. And that's fulfilling. And so what am I saying? That little shy person was always worried about himself.
Right.
Always worried about what he was doing. Oh, when am I going to get that acting? Oh, I need my headshots, like you're saying.
Right.
I need that production crew to do that, whatever the hell it is. The more I say, how much can I give? It just naturally, it comes to you.
Nice.
It just happens. It's a great thing.
That's great.
That's what I like about. You got to be that way in life. That's what I feel.
If it's working for you, that's great. It seems like it is, because
Yeah.
I saw you and Significant Other the other night, and you seemed like you guys were having a real kind of a enjoyable time.
Oh yeah, we were on the motorcycle that night. The rain that cloud just opened up.
Right.
And we just, the rain went. You saw it. That night was incredible.
Yeah.
Perfect night for outdoor wrestling.
Yeah, we were at a wrestling show at McCoy
Yeah.
Stadium, and I had a good time at Big Time Wrestling.
Big time wrestling.
Yeah. So now the bodybuilding, how did you get involved in that?
Bodybuilding. And I found a new way to answer that question. I've been bodybuilding since I was 18 years old.
Okay.
But I really figured out how to do it last year.
Interesting.
And that was, so imagine 15 years of doing something wrong.
Okay.
And then it took you 1 year to do it right. And that's actually, I did a bodybuilding competition, a goal that I had always wanted, since I was reading the Arnold encyclopedia, watching Predator, Terminator 2,
yeah.
These strong characters that I've always,
Carl
aspired.
Weathers, Rocky, Sylvester Stallone,
Oh, absolutely,
all those guys.
absolutely. Although Stallone never impressed me with his physique.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's too. I don't know. I like
Okay.
Arnold was my go-to guy.
Arnold, okay.
Although I do relate to the Rocky character and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
But basically, that idea that you need a goal.
Right.
You need an actual date. Because if you're just lifting weights.
Right.
An
ad hoc.
Just doing it.
Yeah.
You don't really have a focus.
Right.
So when I found that if I set certain goals for myself and committed to that, it gives everything. It gives every rep. It gives everything new meaning, really, and it gives you a purpose. It gives you something to, because it takes a special kind of person to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and get your thing in, and then let everybody else, and then help everybody else the rest of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you need your time, and that's that meditative thing we were talking about.
Are you a trainer for other?
I am.
Yeah, that's great.
I am.
That must be a real interesting experience to take someone almost like a piece of clay almost and say, look, this is where you're at right now, and if you want to lose 30 pounds or gain 20 pounds of muscle or whatever their individual goal is, maybe they don't even know what their goal is.
Well, that's what I try to help. I mean, one of the first emails that I send out, one of the first kind of things that I send out to potential clients is, okay, forget about the scale. I don't care how much you weigh right now.
Right.
How do you look? How do you want to look? Show me what you want to look like. I'll say, send me a few pictures of celebrities that you, because it is really that easy. If you have the commitment, if you have the vision and the want. For me, I'm still working on my own vision of what I want.
Right.
I want the broad shoulders, the V taper, the nice legs. I know I can see in my mind exactly how I want to build it, and that's what you're doing in body. It's called body building. It's not called CrossFit, where you're just doing weird push-ups and pull-ups and making these kind of. It's not that. It's okay. You're looking at. Okay, I want to build my shoulders. How am I going to do that? Right. How am I going to build the rear shoulder? Okay, I need more mass here to make my form more this way. Well, I naturally got to do motions that create that V taper, the pull down. And then you have all those exercises under your belt that you've been doing for 15 years, but have you really been paying attention to what your body needs? How do you do the research, Don? Do you read books? I'm just curious. Do you read books, you have certain things at your disposal, but I guarantee you, and this is what confuses a lot of people. You open Flex magazine, you open Muscle and Fitness. 1 month it's going to say egg whites are the best. Next month it's going to say eat the yolk only. Next month it's going to say drink milk. The next month it's going to say don't drink milk. Everybody's body responds differently to different things. Right. It takes the attention, the willingness to move forward and progress to your vision for what you want, and the patience. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Right. So you have to, when you consume rice, write it down. Right. How does your body react to that white rice? Does it react better with sweet potato? Does it react better with, do you feel better when you eat steak? Do you feel better when you eat fish? You write these things down. Right. How do you look when you eat just fish? Take a week, just eat fish. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, most people don't want to do that. They want everything in a book to tell them what they need to do. I don't care about that, just show me what to do. Right. So it takes a certain kind of person with patience, which we learn as we get older. Right. And that's what when I have clients, what I try to instill in them while they're paying me their hard-earned money for me to yell at them for an hour and a half or whatever. I try to rein their mind in and tell them to forget about the phone, forget about what you've got to do in 2 hours, focus on mind to muscle connection. What do you want out of this? Why are we here? Kind of thing. It's kind of a, I call it true barbarian, and it's like, get back to the basics, get back to the truth, get back to simplicity. Right. get back to, focus on what you want. That's kind of what it is,
Do you listen to music when you train, or just?
No, I like the sound of the weights.
Okay.
I like to, honestly, I don't really care if it's techno, blah, going to whatever gym I'm at or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's just, you can actually tune all that stuff out and just, I don't need a death metal song. I don't need,
you don't need to
Led
be jacked
Zeppelin.
up. Just
because a lot of, again, those years, 18 to 20 something, whatever it was.
Right.
Put the headphones in, System of a Down. You got Metallica in there. But then, okay, now, that's not the right song I want.
Right.
Okay. Oh no, I don't want this. Now you're 10 minutes on trying to figure out, instead of shut up, do the work.
Right.
Focus on what you want.
Do the work's the biggest thing. And also, what I liked that you talked about, Don, was the strategy and putting a little bit of mental energy.
Oh, yeah.
What I was thinking when you were saying that is like, so many people will go to the gym, do 20, 30, 40 minutes of cardio, throw some weights on, but if they had just spent an extra 5 or 10 minutes kind of methodically, pencil, paper, pen, and just making a strategy for the day, for the workout,
right.
they might be more efficient than if they just do this ad hoc kind of jump in the gym. And
or if you notice, if you really pay attention to people, if you're watching them in the gym, you'll see this. They'll count to 10. 10. I just sit there.
Right.
All you're trying to do, it's very simple. Muscle building is very simple. You're trying to say to your muscle, wow, what the hell was that? I got to be ready for that next time.
Right.
So you're trying to get to that pain period, which you must pass. It burns, it hurts, it stings, it's going to make you sore, it's going to, but you have to pass that period so that your body, the protein, the nutrients that you take in, this is scar tissue right here. This is a result of pain.
No pain, no gain.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. He was right. He was right.
Don, it's crazy, man, because we're running out of time.
Absolutely.
But, August 10th, is it August 10th?
Penitence.
Rhode Island International Film Festival, big deal. Great film festival.
Absolutely.
Penitence will be playing there, so people can come and see Don Martone. We've got about 25 seconds. Give me a quick mantra.
Listen to Mike. He's got the mantra, all the mantras you need. That's all you need.
Don Martone, it's been a pleasure. We're going to have to have you back.
All right, excellent. All right.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Thanks for watching this episode of Messier Mantra with our guest, Don Martone. We'll see you next time, right here on Messier Mantra.